Hello and welcome to another video. I'm going to be showing you the intro that you literally just saw. So you want to be in Hitfilm. I made that graphic in Inkscape. It's a nice free program. Make sure you save it as a PNG though, so that you've got the background. I've got two 1080p planes, and some static. So first I'm going to drag in planes and the picture, and I'll just worry about the static later, and I'll start repositioning them. As you can see, the red one is above the white one, which will be the background. And I've just finished repositioning them. Make sure that you turn all of the things that are currently on the timeline, apart from the background, to a 3D plane. As you can see, it's added a camera. You need to change the size of the background, make it a lot bigger, so that if you do a camera movement, then it won't go off the edge, because that will look weird. Now, in the camera's lens, you can change the aperture, zoom, focus distance, and blur. It's best to choose just one thing to change, either zoom or forwards to backwards position, otherwise you might get confused. And then you've got your standard transform properties. There's 3 rotation properties now, instead of just the 1, because we're in 3D space. Then you want to add a new text layer, and I just changed the size to 1000 by 400 and move it into position. Right at the end, in the panel on the lower left, is text, and you can change everything you'd expect, and some things that you wouldn't. Then you need to go to the viewer and select the text tool, and then type in whatever you want, or change it first. You can go back and select it and change it afterwards. On the bottom right of the text tab, that property is the outline, how thick the outline is. I like to have everything in the shot underneath the camera layer if it's in 3D, but you really don't need to bother with this. You do need to change the text to a 3D plane though, so that you've got the 3 rotations and position values which you can change. I'm going to change the position so that it's slightly in front of the clapboard, I think it's called. and then just move it around so that it's in the place where I want it. Then I'm going to keyframe the Y rotation, skip ahead a bit and change it. And then do the same again. As you can see, it says 1 times, but I want it to go round halfway and then back, so I changed that back to 0. The whole composite shot is a bit too long to be an intro, 30 seconds, so I'm just gonna shorten it to 15. It's still a bit long, but it's short enough for the purposes of this video. Why I did that is going to the media tab and clicking on the cog icon, and you can change it. Next, you want to change the anchor point of the graphic. I'm not sure whether this is only something you can do in the viewer in 2D mode, but you want to go to the anchor point property and change it to the bottom left corner if you're doing this sort of thing. But of course, I would recommend that you make something that's unique to your own channel, or whatever you're making this intro for. And you need to reposition it to make sure it's in the right place. And go back to the beginning and open it a bit. Make sure keyframing is turned on, and skip to the end or wherever else you want it to stop, and then change it back to 0. That button that I just clicked, that is RAM preview. It makes it nice and smooth. Just the parts that have been rendered. Once you make a change though, then it won't be as smooth again. So now I'm going to open the lens property of the camera and turn on keyframing for the zoom, and I'm going to zoom out quite a bit, and as you can see, it doesn't reach to the edge of the white background. And at the end I'm gonna have it a lot more zoomed in. You can change the focus distance, blur and aperture to your liking, but for this it doesn't really do so much, so I'm just going to leave it at default settings. I'm going to now change the position so it's above the clapboard, and change the rotation of the x-axis, I think, so that it's facing downwards. I'm also going to keyframe this so it starts above and far away and looking down at it, and then kind of zooms down. And there you go. So at the beginning it's zoomed out and looking down, then at the end it's kind of head on. And you could leave this as it is, just export it, but I'm going to add a new composite shot and drag the first composite shot into the second one. I did that by going new and composite shot. Then I'm going to drag in the static, make sure it's on top of the first composite shot, and then scale it up because this is in 720p and I want it to be full screen and the whole project is in 1080p. Now I'm just going to put it at the end because that's where I want it. But as you can see, it's just over the top of the video. So I need to go to controls of the static and then turn the blend mode to screen. You can use a couple of different ones, but I'm just using screen for this one. Then you want to go to effects and search displacement. It's under distort and drag it on, not onto this layer. I'll fix that in a minute. But then you want to basically put the source layer to the static, and you might want to mess around with the vertical and horizontal displacement and stuff, but you really don't need to. As you can see here, it's been applied to the composite shot, and it's sort of displacing the composite shot from the composite shot, so it looks weird. But now you can't really see it with this one, so I'll go and get a different static. There we go. But it will change the what it looks like. So if I move that to the end and change the blend mode, and also scale it up. There we go. Now you can see that it's affecting the composite shot layer. Anyway, now you just need to export it, and it's ready to be used in any videos. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.